Do you remember the Kevin Hart movie What Now from a couple years ago? It was a stand-up special, but it had cutaways like a video game where it was this James Bond, John Wick hybrid, and Kevin Hart was playing a spy, and it was like a parody on the genre. It had Halle Berry in it, and everybody was playing it very serious, but it was very ridiculous. That was the point. That's how this new movie Lift feels for a lot of its runtime. F. Gary Gray directed Kevin Hart, Gugu and Mbatha-Raw, Vincent D'Onofrio, and a bunch of characters in this new Netflix heist film. I love heist films. I absolutely love heist films. Ever since my mom showed me the original Ocean's 11 as a kid, and I was sad that they didn't get away with it at the end. Spoilers for a 64-year-old film. Now, Lift is not that film, and F. Gary Gray somehow manages to remake his 2003 movie Italian Job, but not as well. Because we have a lot of the same elements in both films. Like, we have a boat chase through Venice, we have a cool cast of characters, we're stealing bricks of gold, we get to have a celebratory powwow on a cliff overlooking the mountains. Apparently, every 20 years, you just gotta revisit these things. But Lift lacks a lot of the charm and the character that the Italian Job has, and a lot of the scenes, like the aforementioned boat chase, looks more like a commercial. Like, you know how a company like Hotels.com or Orbitz or something will have a cinematic commercial and they're trying to make it look like a movie, but it's really just an ad for some destination? That's how a lot of these scenes looked, especially in the beginning of the film. But when we actually get down to it, there's really only two detractions from this film: the pacing and the lead. This movie rushes full speed to the climax to the point where any type of chemistry or emotional weight that the movie tries to invoke falls flat and just feels insincere. Which is crazy because the Italian Job doesn't feel rushed at all, and we like the entire cast of characters and we feel all the emotional things that they're going through, and the two movies have the exact same runtime. It comes down to the allocation of different elements. We're given different priorities in each film, and it comes across. I think one of the main pacing issues in Lift is that it doesn't stop. Like, as soon as we're finished with the opening heist, we immediately start preparing for the main heist. In the Italian Job, after the opening heist, we pause for a second, we get to sit with these characters, get to know them, and we allow the plot to breathe and develop at a natural pace. And in Lift, it's just one heist, two heists, and figure out who everybody is and how they feel about each other as we go along in one or two scenes. And I hate to say it, but Kevin Hart was a big distraction for me in this film, which surprised me, honestly, because this isn't his first time dealing with a non-comedic role. But when he was in Fatherhood, he used his comedic mannerisms and disposition to make his character feel grounded and more real. It felt like a real person. But in this movie, there's no real charisma, and he has to deliver these supposedly charismatic lines or these heartfelt lines, and for me it just kind of felt flat. It felt forced and it didn't feel natural. I didn't believe it. But after saying all of that, there are two things that save this movie for me, and the first one is the other lead. Gugu Mbatha-Raw is an incredible actor just generally, and she does an incredible job in this movie, to the point where her reactions and interactions with Kevin Hart serve to help make his delivery and his acting a little bit more believable and more palpable, because she's just doing such a great job. She's really carrying this whole movie because all of the people she's interacting with seem to be over the top or just not on her level. Because Sam Worthington is in this movie, and whatever he's doing, I'm not sure, but she's the grounding force throughout this entire movie. And the other thing that actually saves this movie for me is the most important thing, and that's the heist. If you're going to make a heist movie, the heist has to be good. And when they're going to rob this plane, from the moment they board the plane and the heist begins, I was having a good time. It was fun. They were using a lot of technological gadgetry that, you know, pushed the limits of believability quite a bit. But I was having such a good time, I didn't care. So for me, even though this movie had its problems, when I'm going to see a heist film, I want to see a good heist. And this movie had a pretty good heist. I guess what I'm saying is watch this movie first, and then go find the Italian Job and watch that second. Don't watch the Italian Job first, because then you won't enjoy Lift as much. But watch both, and you'll have a good time. And then after you do that, we can come back together and try to figure out what's up with F. Gary Gray and Venice and gold bars. He's got a thing. Let me know what you thought of Lift, and then let me know what your favorite heist film is, but you can't say Heat or Ocean's 11. And I'll catch you next time.